What's up, my dudes? Dudettes. I'm back out here at my timber yard, getting ready to do round 5 of oxalic acid vaporization. And this will be the last time I do it for this year, and I'm just going to go through the hives real quick. They're already flying. It's only like 45 degrees. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't be flying yet, but anyways, I'm going to go up there and see if they're bringing some pollen in from something before I vaporize them, get an idea what I need to do here. Haven't seen any pollen yet. I do have a little bit of pollen substitute out here for them just to play with, but I don't know if they're bringing that in or not just yet. I'll go check, see how much of that is left here in a moment. This is the first hive out of my row here. One thing I have noticed since I put these bees out here is they get pretty good sun on them all day long, being here in the middle of the woods this time of year, which is good. But it's nice and shady whenever it's hot outside. Everything gets their leaves back on. On my way here, I saw some willow trees that were really, really red looking, like they're getting ready to open up their blooms possibly, but I don't know if it's been warm enough just yet for them to start making pollen or not, because I think willow trees are about the first natural pollen source for the bees in the early spring. And I would imagine there's no wind. It's supposed to be almost 60 degrees today. In the next 10 days, these bees should be able to fly every single day, according to the forecast anyway. I would imagine some natural pollen source will probably become available in the next 10 days because it's supposed to be so warm. It's like, I think today's the 7th of February. So, may have a bit of an early spring this year. Last weekend when I was out here, there was snow on everything. That last video that I made, there is no more snow. So, well, I haven't seen any pollen yet. Even if it wasn't natural pollen, I don't think they're going over there and gathering any pollen substitute just yet. Can't quite tell if they're foraging or if they're just taking cleansing flights, but regardless, I'm going to start vaporizing them. I kind of want to go through here and check the cluster size too before I do that. It seems like they like that upper entrance on some of these hives though. Lots of them are hanging out up top. I put these candy boards on them, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, as an emergency food source. These candy boards that I built, they have a piece of insulation in them as well, so it helps keep them a little bit warmer than not. Lots of bees flying for only being 45 degrees. If you guys have seen any of this liquid, so to speak, on some of these bottom boards, it's from those candy boards dripping down. You can see them all licking it up right there. It seems like every hive is alive. Man, where is the... Oh, I must have shoved the entry reducer way back in there. You know what? I don't remember doing that to any of these hives. I wonder if a coon came through here and was trying to get a handful of bees for dinner. Or maybe even a skunk. I'm pretty good, especially with this yard. It's half an hour from my house. Every time I come out here, I want everything to be ship shape whenever I leave. So I almost bet some critter tried to get a handful of food out of here Regardless, though, I'll fix that before I leave, and let's go check the pollen sub here. Over here by the old feeder. See if they're messing with this at all or not. It really doesn't look much different than it was last weekend or 2 weeks ago, last time I was out here. I think it was last weekend. Yeah, it was last weekend. I'd really like to get them to start rearing brood, because I want to be able to make splits early this year. I tell you what, that my office yard, as I call it, I am not impressed with their cluster size right now. Most of them have, let's see, there's 1, 2, probably 5 out of the 8 hives that are left alive over there only have a frame or 2 of bees. Some of them only have 1 frame of bees, which is concerning to me. And I think they'll make it as long as we don't get a really bad cold snap again like we did a couple weeks ago, whenever we got all that snow and it was 0 outside and blah blah blah. But it makes me wonder if I'm not going to probably keep more than just a couple hives there this season, because I don't think they get much of a pollen flow in the fall. Over here in the timber yard, there's something blooming almost all year long, as we got some moisture in the ground. There's a little bit of a dearth, I noticed, towards the end of July to mid-August, but even then there was some sort of, I don't remember if it was goldenrod or what, but it wasn't very tall, but it looked like the top looked like goldenrod, but it was very short. It was only maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall, something like that. Not like the really, tall, 5, 6 foot tall goldenrod that makes really good pollen and nectar for the bees. But there's always something out here this last year I noticed blooming that they could forage on. Over there at my office yard, they're just, once July hits, there's almost nothing for them. Maybe a little bit of clover and some dandelions, and that's it. But once the clover dries up, there ain't nothing. So I'm really hoping I can stimulate these girls here to with gloves on and try and run a camera. Anyways, I'm hoping, I already said this in another video, I would really like to be able to split these girls twice if they all have good cluster sizes right now, and they start going into brood production mode, which I think I can get them to in the next couple weeks if they haven't already started, because the feed that I've given them already has protein in it. The candy boards don't. That's just straight carbohydrates and a little bit of Honeybee Healthy. But if I can get them to build up into a second deep by like mid-March and have a bunch of brood in it, I can pull that box and give them another with drawn comb in it. I can pull the first split, set it down next to the hive, make my split there to fill out these pallets, because I want to have 20 hives out here this year. And then if I can do that again with a second split off the top of them, I can take that to my 2 other yards in combination with what hives I have left at the office yard. I think I should be able to get pretty close to my 50 hive goal this year. That's the plan. You know how plans go with beekeeping, if you've been beekeeping at all for it. Last year was just not a gong show, but you just had to roll with the punches, at least my experience last year. So we had these 9 hives out here in the timber yard. I didn't really split any of them, but I did take the old queen out of several of them that were gonna swarm on me, and I took them over to the office yard to keep them from swarming off. I only had 1 hive that I could tell. I think it was this hive right here that swarmed on me. I take that back. There was 2 hives that swarmed on me last year. One of them actually landed in my father-in-law's yard, believe it or not, 6 or 7 feet off the ground. First swarm I've ever caught. It was just like picturesque, perfect, just grab the limbs, shake them into a box, and you're done kind of a deal. I left the box there overnight so they could get used to it. But then I had one other colony swarm off on me, and I don't know where they went. I wasn't able to capture them or whatever, but pretty happy with my swarm control last year. But anyways, let's get to vaporizing. I'm trying to decide if I want to vaporize now or just check the cluster size of them. I know they're spread out inside the hive since they're flying. They're not going to be all clustered up tight. Let me grab my hive tool and take a peek real quick. Gosh, gotta love that sound. You go all winter long. Not necessarily cooped up inside, but it's freaking dark all the time. Cold. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You don't get to hear that hum of the wings for so long and dig through a box of bees. It's not depressing. It's just something you long for whenever you don't get to do it for so long, I guess. So, I know these girls right here are kind of ornery. I don't want to tick them off too bad. Let's see. Oh, that box. Well, I've got the feeder board on there. It feels fairly heavy though still. Get my gloves out of your all's way. What do they look like? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we got, I don't know. There was, I think, about 6 frames of bees in there, which is good. Even if they're spread out a little bit. There's 6. Okie dokie. Chubby. That box feels equally as heavy, which I'm happy about. We're not even picking them up yet. Let's see what they got. Oh man. Yeah, they got, I don't know. That's a 5 framer, I would say. Come on, there we go. And they didn't really get very mad at me yet. I'm going to say yet, just to be on the side of caution here. I don't have my suit on. I don't expect them to be too angry yet. So there's a 6er and a 4.5 or 5 framer there. That's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I mean, they're clustered. It makes me wonder, since it's warm enough for them to fly and take cleansing flights and whatever they're doing, but they're still fairly clustered up inside. It makes me really think that they're raising brood right now, for real, which is fantastic if they are. It's supposed to be, gosh, like 70 or 75 in 2 or 3 days. That really, really makes me want to dig through one of these and just see if they've got 2 or 3 frames of brood going already. That would be fantastic. That just tells me there's going to be a box of bees. I mean, I'm going to go through here and pop them all open and look at them real quick, but it just tells me there's going to be a box of bees in there probably by mid-March, which is awesome. All right. Oh man. Yep. Pop. Pop. Let's see what we got here. Oh. That one is not very big and could possibly be dead, but it almost looks like there was a small cluster in there. Can't quite tell though. Let me put you down for a second. Reset this box. No, there's bees in there. Yep. As many bees. I don't think that's robbing behavior or nothing. There's several bees. Okay, so that's our smallest hive. I'm not going to do any equalizing today. Obviously, it's too cold. I'm still going to, might treat them a little bit early yet in my neck of the woods for equalizing. Alright, let's see what these other girls got going on here. There's a cluster in there, not real big, but there's a few in there. Small as they are, I kind of want to see if they're getting up here, eating any of this candy or not. Yep, they're up there. Alright, good. So these girls are going to be small, starting out. Okay. Lid check. They don't seem very mad, for lack of a better word. Irritated. I bet they're just glad that it's not freaking 0 degrees anymore and they can fly a little bit. There's a decent cluster there. They may have a frame of brood on the outside wall. Alright. I mean, that one there, even just bringing a couple frames of bees, could fill that box up here in 5 or 6 weeks if they're starting up on brood already. Which is very nice. Get all these girls popped loose on their seal. So, let's see. We had that one that was really small. So I can ramp them up, no problem, with a couple shakes of young bees, honestly, and a frame of capped brood. And this hive down here at the very end, in the end of February or early March, had literally maybe 1.5 frames of bees in it. And I gave them, I think, 1 or 2 frames of capped brood. And by, let's see, July, their honey supers were stacked up here. I think they made more honey than every one of these other colonies did. It was incredible to see how just that low amount of bees turned into a tower of bees, basically. It was incredible. And they have a big cluster size too still. So they're doing well. They could potentially be a breeder. The only thing I don't like about them is whenever you pop the lid on them and you're working them, I've noticed that they've got that genetic trait where once they get irritated, they start marching around every single perimeter of the hive that they can march around. I don't really care for that, but at the same time, if there's some really good honey producer genetics, then I'm going to probably breed off of them this year. So I'm going to see what these other girls are doing here. How big is your cluster? 1, 2, 3. That's not too bad. 3 is good. There's a seam or 2 in there. Gosh dang, these boxes are heavy. I dang sure don't need to feed them anymore. If I can get them, that one there is pretty light, but wow, look at that box. That one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. Hang on. Come on. I don't know what this thing's stuck on. Stand by. There we go. Woo! There's a lot of bees in there. Okay. Cool. A 7-framer? That's very good. So yeah, like this last fall, it makes me wonder if these bigger colonies perhaps had a higher pollen load inside of their combs than these smaller colonies did. I don't know. So yeah, I should be marking these with a pen or something, but at the same time, whenever it comes time to take inventory, so to speak, they're going to be different size. They could be bigger, they could be smaller. Just depends on whether or not they're raising brood. So, all right, let's check these ones out. Some formic paper. Okay. How big are eagles? Oh yeah. That one's got 4 or 5 frames of bees in it. Very nice. Last one on the end. Honestly, probably my meanest hive. So we're going to try and pop them and drop them real quick. Yep, there's... You know what? I'm going to look again. Yep, they're all spread out. I'm going to give them a rating of 5 frames for sure. Very good. There's only a couple that are fairly small. And if we have... Both of them were fairly little, and then maybe one other one through here only had a frame and a half or so. So yeah, I should be able to equalize these hopefully in the next couple weeks. Get a good warm weekend where I can come out here and pop them open, see how much brood we got to play with. I'll go back through, write down how many frames of bees there are in each one, and then play Robin Hood. So yeah, bee season is upon us. Can't wait. Something I've been on my mind almost daily, or I mean it is daily, but can't wait. All right, let's get to vaporizing. All right, we are hot to trot. All right, vaporization is done, but now that's warmed up a little bit. Looks like the ladies are gathering some pollen, which I like. Very good. I was really hoping they were going to do that today, since it's going to be warm. And now that I see them gathering that, I'm going to give them a whole bunch more. And then I'm going to drizzle some of this honeybee healthy in there. Put leaves and stuff in there so they can climb up And now the powder's just fine. It's all nice and dry inside. There we go. Put a bunch of powder in there for them. That Ultra B, or Mega B, I mean. And then hopefully, if they're not already doing it, like I said earlier, I think they're raising brood already, but I think some of them smaller colonies still need some goodies. Even though I've got those candy boards on top of them. I do think that hive on the right of that double pallet right there might be dead. I didn't really see but just a couple bees come out of the entrance when I was vaporizing them. So I'm pretty sure we got 9 good healthy colonies right now. So if we can get them ramped up right now, I can do some equalizing, I don't know, in a couple weeks maybe, and then potentially have 9 hives that are already, you know, an average of 5 frames by March, which would be awesome. Because if that's the case, and they've got 3 to 4 frames of brood in each one, all that brood hatches, I'm going to have a box full of bees by mid-March, in theory. Lots of variables. Weather's going to have to cooperate, temperatures have to be right, all that good stuff. But since I've got enough bees, I think I can get them to start raising brood, because the heat output of them being in a single box, they should be able to get started if they already haven't. So then I can double deep them, take a split off of them, keep them from swarming. Half the bees will be gone, and then I can do it again, like I said earlier. So anyways, let's get some powder in here. There's already several bees already buzzing around me here. Oh man, pause. All right, just got that powder dumped in here. I'd say it's probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 pounds. That's about how much I got left in the bucket. So you do the math, I reckon. I'll give it a little stir here. They will crawl through all these leaves and such. The main thing they need right now is protein to get these hives rolling. I know they have enough carbohydrates because the weight of those boxes is still very surprising. Other than that, either the second or third one from the end felt fairly light. The one that I think actually had the biggest cluster. But that's because they've been eating all their food because they had such a high population. Drizzle a little bit of that honeybee healthy in there so they can find us a little bit faster. And if they clean that up in a week, that is a 100% indicator that they are raising brood, because they need that protein to make baby bees with. I know for a fact they don't need any carbohydrates because of that feeder board that I put on top of them. And the weight of those boxes is still an indicator that they're full of feed. So fingers crossed, we're already raising brood in these hives. From the behavior that I'm seeing, I would say that these 4 to 6 frame hives have at least 1, if not 2 frames of brood going in them already, is my guess. I'm not going to dig into them yet because it's not very warm. But that's what I'm hoping. Bee season's upon us. The earlier you can get them going, the more hives you can have, the more honey you can make. Simple as that. Good nutrition, viable queens, low mite count. On to the next yard we go. Till next week, little girls. Keep it real. Get bigger so I can split you. Come on. Time to do the second yard. The office yard, as it was. I'm just going to do those ones over there because my other hives I don't think have a big enough cluster for me to really need to worry about them over here. These few hives, I think one of them, I can't honestly say if all 3 of these hives are alive. I think 3 of the 4 of them are, but we'll find out here pretty quick once I start gassing everybody. And it's about 60 degrees, so if they are viable, I mean, those two hives right there closest to me are offset so they can get robbed out because they're both dead. But I think out of, let's see what we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think out of the 9 hives that I've got here still, I think 8 of them are good. We're gonna find out here pretty quick though. All right, they're alive, and they are the biggest hive I have at this yard. I think there's probably 5 or 6 frames of bees in there. Both of them girls are alive. Both of these ones here are getting robbed out. Everybody's got candy boards on top of them. And I think that's why this one looks the way it does. I think it's kind of getting gooey in there and kind of running out on the flexible inner cover I've got. And they're just licking up the goodies that are running out of the edge. So I'm just going to leave that as it is, because I know all these hives still have a whole bunch of sugar left on top of them from those candy boards I made. Both these girls are alive. And then it appears, I know this one has a decent cluster in it because I popped them open and looked yesterday, but I couldn't tell it was double deep. It was almost too cold to open them up, but at the same time I couldn't help myself. I'm pretty sure there's still a cluster left in there. This is the one I was really concerned about because I was going to use this queen for a breeder queen. But that is definitely not robbing behavior. So I'm going to count them as a viable hive still, which is good. I'm glad to be able to say that. I know there's 2 viable hives left on this pallet, so like I said, I opened up everybody yesterday and kind of took a quick glance at them, but this one here I was really wondering about. Let's see, I started with, let's see, I had, did I have a double here? I had a single here. I had 1 hive sitting right here between these 2 pallets. And they were the ones that died because I didn't give them any mite treatment while they were requeening themselves. I didn't want to screw up the requeening process. My bad. Then, so there's 1 hive that died. Had 1 more over here. And they were a set of package bees that I bought, let's see, not last year, but the year before. And they did really good 2 years ago, and then they got freaking taken over by beetles. That was the only hive I've ever had get slimed so far. I'll tell you what, that is some nasty stuff whenever they slime the inside of the hive. And I mean, I didn't even have honey supers on this hive. They slimed the brood box, and then they confined, there were so many beetles in it, they like confined all the bees to 1/2 of the box basically, and the rest of all those other 5 combs were just ruined because there were so many beetles hatching in them and sliming them and everything. So I'm going to honestly say that hive perished because of the beetles that got them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then 4 over there that have died so far out of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So out of 13, we got 9. Not really happy with those numbers. We still got a little bit of winter left, so we'll see what happens. But if we end up with 9 hives here, and we've got 9 out in the timber yard, I'm pretty sure with some stimulative feeding and supplementing, I can probably push those numbers from 18 up to 50 and still make some honey this year. If not, whatever, I guess. But that's my goal. kind of hard to film whenever you got gloves on. And you're using a telephone anyway, or a touch screen. Having to my nose to push the buttons on the screen here. So now that I know we got 9 viable hives, sorry about that sunlight, that makes me feel better than 8, because I really thought I was down to 8 out here when I was looking at them yesterday. Because like I said, that double deep hive, I couldn't find their cluster because I didn't really want to dig through them too much, but there's still at least a frame of bees in there. Hopefully all these small hives still have a queen too, I hope. That's the main thing. If you don't have a queen, no bueno. You're just gonna have to do some combinations, I guess. Combine hives together. But anyways, it is 60 degrees and the bees are flying. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this last round of vaporization. This will be the 5th round. And I'm using 4 grams still. Like I said though, I'm not going to do any of these ones here because they all have fairly small clusters. I'll probably just do the 2 colorful hives and then the big one over here on the east side of the yard. So, get her done. Now I got a finger to work with. Just want to show you guys my open feeder here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there are a lot of bees. So that's got syrup in it. That's got syrup in it. I just put powder in this a day or 2 ago, trying to get them to start gathering some powder, or you know, man-made pollen, so to speak. And let's take a look. See what they're doing in here. Nothing. Oh my gosh. There's like a bee in here. Okay, I was kind of wondering about that because it doesn't really have much of a smell to it, so it's probably not as attractive to the bees as that syrup is. But let's give them a little honeybee healthy here, just to give them some incentive to go in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they have to have a little bit of nectar or sugar syrup in order to carry pollen. I'm not sure. I'd have to do some Googling on that, but you guys let me know what's up with that. Because I think that they do something with the nectar that they gather and like more or less lick their pollen baskets on their rear legs or something to get the pollen to stick to it. I think that's what they do. I'm not sure. But anyways, now they've got some scented motivation to go in there and gather some pollen. I really hope that giving them this pollen sub will get them going a little bit early this year and help them build up faster, because I want to make some splits. So guys, I'm going to get out of here. I know I've been rambling a bunch. I had a ton of coffee this morning, but hope you guys' bees are doing well. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace. Don't try this at home, kids. steaming. That's one way to clean out your vaporizer.